I'm going to show you how to feed your family on just a tenth of an acre with plain old simple raised bed gardening techniques. This is Greg Allison with Green Greg's. Indeed, here is some sweet potatoes I grew with worm castings. Look, they're rather large. And so there's going to be stuff like this that you can grow that can feed your family. Food that can keep all winter long without canning or special processing is going to be the key source of this. I'll show other things for augmenting this. We're going even beyond that. So if you like the content, if you find it valuable, share, subscribe, bang the notification bell, and click all and share this video. Click the share button and share it with a friend. Send it to somebody else. Put it in social media. We need some help with this channel, guys. We got to get these words out. So my friends, also, you need to consider seeds because you want high quality seeds. You want heirloom seeds you can plant and get the same plant back from the seeds when you harvest them the following years successfully. And you won't get that from the seeds that you buy that are hybrid. And so this is a link. The link will be below to True Leaf Market, great source for that, non-GMO seeds, wide variety. Also, if you're not into that, you can also try Eden Brothers. So you can find quite a variety of seeds between the two. These are the links below. All right, with that said, as of 2011, the average adult American ate 1,996 pounds of food per year. This was calculated by some economists with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and it included 31 pounds of of cheese, and up to 85 pounds of fats and oils that we consume. Out of that, there was only actually about 273 pounds of food and 415 pounds of vegetables. I guess grain and junk food made up the bulk. The rest of it, some meat. But guys, we can definitely increase the fruits and vegetables, the breads, and it just aren't that good for you. But I will cover wheat in this if you want to see how, and corn, how that goes into, and corn's going to be part of this. So my friends, this is the kind of garden. You can actually plant this any time of the year. This is greens here. You can start these now, later in the season. It's still a little early to grow these, but I'm going to show you plenty of stuff that you can grow. But this is one of the kind of crops you can just keep cutting and, cut and come again, some of this stuff, at least lettuce. And guys, here are my raised beds. This is the key technology you're going to need, just growing in dirt. Now, raised beds, you can grow a lot more food in raised beds than you can row cropping, because the whole idea of the raised bed is not to compress the soil. By not compressing the soil, it will be far more productive, and it also will drain better when it's raised if you're in high rainfall areas. If not, you may not want it so raised, but that's an option that you can consider. And this is in the back of my place. These logs come off my property. You can use boards, you can use rock, you can use all kinds of things to side raised beds. I got a lot of videos on my channel of how to grow stuff that I did like 4 years ago in raised beds, how to prep the beds and use stuff that you don't have to go to the store to buy, guys. I'll go more into that in a moment. This is some of the stuff I was growing out of my raised beds, just getting started there with some tomato trellises, corn. And you can also augment what I'm about to show you by growing indoors year round to keep fresh greens with microgreens. A lot of videos on my channel on that. But this is not the mainstay of what I'm going to talk about. This isn't where I'm talking about getting your nutrition from. But where I get the idea from originally was my visit to the Dervaes family in Pasadena, California. This is their porch in front of their house. Here, a family of 4 was living off of a tenth of an acre, producing all their food except for the grain products. But the food they produced was, the high value, high dollar stuff. So they sold from that and actually made a living. They produced their own food and made a living for a family of 4. They lived meager, but they were happy and well adjusted because they weren't in the rat race. The family of 4 living off of a tenth of an acre in the big city of Pasadena, California. And it was kind of amazing what they did. And this gave me a lot of inspiration. And I've come up with some calculations for how to do this here, along with Jason Avers. He helped me out with this stuff. I'll give a big shout out to Jason Avers, Green Forest Agroforestry, excuse me, Green. Anyway, he's got a great YouTube channel. You find him in my chats a lot. So, guys, so here's the bottom line. The Dervaes family in Pasadena, California grows 7,000 pounds of food per year on just a tenth of an acre using just raised bed gardening. They do grow some stuff against the garden walls, but it's mostly just in the raised beds. I've done 2 videos with them. Now that would come out to enough food by those 1996, by the 2011 numbers of 1996 calories per person of 3.5 people. Like I said, they got their grain products from elsewhere. But increasing, if you grew this in a greenhouse and could pump CO2 in, you could increase the yield by 20% to 8,400 pounds. And that would give you enough for 4.2 people. Now you can grow other stuff and actually, what I'm about to show you, and actually get that yield up where you need it on 1/10 of an acre to feed a family of 4. So, and you could also, in addition to that, you could put aquaponics tubes overhead a lot of this stuff and have like a double layer growing system. But anyway, and you could grow this food in your homes. I'm going to show my universal habitat toward the end where you can grow all your food inside your home, basically. And again, this is kind of a thin film aquaponics technology or hydroponics, either way, system that you could actually put over garden beds and have this up higher. So a lot of people grow tomatoes. Not tomatoes. Yeah, you can grow tomatoes, but I wouldn't grow them up high. You can grow like strawberries, or this is lettuce here. Many things can grow in thin film systems, but we're focusing on raised beds here mostly. You can also extend your season. Now, what I'm talking about is not using the season extenders. The raised bed technology, we're going to go over the little plot that I'm going to show you, doesn't use any of these techniques to augment it and make it stretch and go further. But you can use row covers, high tunnels, and greenhouses. You can plant crops that yield quickly. You can plant 3 or more crops per year in a bed. You can plant cut and come again crops, especially some of your lettuces, like I mentioned earlier. Or you can do like those tomatoes I've shown. You can plant in trellises, or you can do grow on the walls like the Dervaes family do. But that's just around the edge of the property. It's just a fence wall that surrounds the property. They do that on. Here's a deep water culture aquaponic system, just as an example. This is Sustainable Harvesters out northwest of Houston. King something, I forget the exact name of the town, but I took that picture there several years ago before I built my greenhouse. It was an inspiration for how I did what I did. All right, feeding the people. Again, you can maximize growth by layer cropping, doing a food forest. And we're going to talk about trees, nut trees. You can also do fruit trees, but multiple layers of foliage to capture the sun. Put as many roots in the ground as is possible. Feed heavy, lots of compost, worm tea, worm castings, rock dust. Now, the good thing about rock dust is it replaces the trace minerals that you deplete with vegetables, which are not getting from the farms that you're getting food from these days, unless they're organic farms that are very mindful to put the rock dust down. You can ask them, go to your farmer's market and ask if they use rock dust or if they actually use composted wood chips or something like that. Bone meal and blood meal are the ways to augment your garden. This is all natural. Now, if you harvest meat, then you could have that to go with it, guys. So, and some people actually compost meat and animal byproducts, but you want a hot compost to do that so you don't get the worms and all the nasty stuff. So, but the more you put into your soil, the more productive it's going to be. So check that out. Oh, yeah, wild composted wood, because the tree roots pull from deep down in the ground, and they pull up those trace minerals that your annual plants don't get. That's why I put that as an alternative to rock dust. It's best to use both if you can. All right. So what we're going to show is the food forest with the 3 sisters. And the 3 sisters are corn, beans, and squash. Now, you can substitute the squashes we're going to show here with sweet potatoes, like I showed earlier in the photograph there. But corn, beans, and squash, this is from the Native Americans, indigenous Americans, you might want to say. They came up with this. That was their 3 sisters. The beans make nitrogen for the corn. Corn provides a trellis for the beans, and squash, but squash often tears down the cord. So we're going to talk about substituting that with, if you choose, you don't have to, the Indians didn't do this, with sweet potatoes, peanuts, or lettuce and spinach. See, that's all things you can substitute with a squash, but there's a good reason to grow like winter squash in particular, or sweet potatoes, because they're storable. Now, nut trees are great because you're going to need some protein. You're going to need some fats. We don't get enough of that just from the vegetables alone. And so you might, if nothing else, you might want to put this in one corner of your garden. You might turn your whole garden into this, or have another little plot for this kind of thing. Pecan tree yields 3 pounds per year when it starts out. It takes 3 to 4 years to start producing. Significant production can achieve be done in 6 to 8 years. Good production will be in the 9th or 10th year, and maximum size it will be reached in 6 years. So ultimately, these trees will produce 180 pounds per year. That's 2,000 calories per pound of shelled nuts. You can get about half a year's calories per person from these nuts from pecans, and pecans taste great, and they store well. So we're going to emphasize things you can store here. But you can also grow a garden around your tree until it matures, and lettuce under the tree, because in summertime it's hard to grow lettuce, but you can grow it in the shade if you do it correctly, even year round. But nut trees, fats and proteins. Hazelnuts mature faster, like in 500 days, a lot quicker than say pecans. So the annuals, you grow annuals for calories. You can get the wheat, corn, and potatoes again. So there's no fats in your annuals typically. So wheat, corn, potatoes, this is all figured on 1/10 of an acre here, these numbers. So from wheat, on 1/10 of an acre, you could get 641,300 calories. And so that's at 2,000 calories a day. That would be 320 days worth of food. So wheat won't quite feed you on 1/10 of an acre for a person there. Corn would give you 1,210,000 calories. That would take care of you for 605 days. Then again, so that's really, truly, this is not getting to your 4-person level, but this could take care of a couple people, right, for a year, almost. Potatoes, though, will give you 1,815,000 calories. So 907 days. There you go. You get 3 people there. But now if you draw all this stuff together like I'm about to show, you'll do much better. So what you do is you come up with this 9 square foot technique here. This 9 square foot, you can put 484 of these in 1/10 of an acre, or 403 in 1/12 of an acre, which a lot of your city lots are 1/12 of an acre. Now that's neglecting walkways. So you might want to figure out a way to use logs or something that you can actually have the walkway on top of, or something else to work in your walkways, or grow overhead like I was mentioning before, trellis stuff. But basically what you do here, you see how it's got the corn, the tall crops are in these corners, and your sweet potato, the vining crops here, and I don't show anything here. Now, of course, we're going to plant the sweet potatoes when it gets hot in the heat of the season. And then the sweet potatoes will grow out. Until they grow out, you can still have lettuce here, or you can put lettuce or spinach here until you plant the sweet potatoes. So that's not accounted for in the calories that we're going to count up, or the food production pound-wise. That's an extra benefit that gets you more per the growing area. And it's not talking season extenders or any of that. So you can plant a corn or okra, 9 inches in from each corner. Then you can plant 2 or 3 legumes around each corn plant, or okra plant if you so choose. I might choose okra myself. Start the corn in the spring when you can first get the seed in the ground. But you wait until the heat arrives to plant the sweet potatoes. Lettuce or onions you can also grow until then in that space, right? So again, you got 3 layers: corn, beans, sweet potatoes, and ground cover. Again, ground cover is your sweet potatoes or other crops. So we'll go back and look at this again. Again, here's your tall stuff in these corners right here. The sweet potatoes, what's going to vine out. Or you can plant summer squash early in the year and winter squash later. Get a couple of squash growths out of it. You eat the summer squash through the year, and the winter squash will keep all year, like butternut squash. Yum, yum. I love butternut squash, guys. So that's different options you can have here. Here in the South, you might choose to grow okra here instead of the corn. Now, it's a little late to be planting corn or okra. You could still do the beans, and you could still, it might be a little too late to do sweet potatoes now, but you could definitely plant winter squash there right now. It's not too late to get started, my friends. You can do winter squash, or what we call fall squash, whatever you call it. You can still grow that. So that's, again, this right here. So calories per 9 square feet. Corn would give you 780 calories per plant. So we're going to have 4 plants there, right? That's 3,120 calories. Sweet potatoes would give you about 5 pounds. You get 1,740 calories. Of beans on the low end, you get about 1,600 calories. So the total for 9 square feet, you know what? Actually, I need to multiply that because that's only per plant there. Oh yeah, no, that's for 4 plants. All right, good. So for 9 square feet, you can get 6,460 calories. Now, this is just one crop, okay? It's not counting the idea you can plant spinach and lettuce in there through the year. It's not too late to start this. Now, you can do the winter squash. You can still do the beans, guys. So, or whatever legumes you want to plant. So on 1/10 of an acre with 444 of these, you get 3,126,640 calories divided by 2,000. Say you want 2,000 calories a day. That's enough for 1,563 days divided by 365 a year. So that'll give you about 4.28 people. You can cover over almost 4 1/3 people. So for the 730,000 calories, you really need 113.9 square foot units. So you need about 1,017 square feet per person. That's the way that works out. So you can plant, again, okra instead of corn, peanuts instead of sweet potatoes is ground cover. Again, why the three sisters? Corn, winter squash, especially now. Like I said, you can do summer squash in the spring. Corn, winter squash, and sweet potatoes. And then summer squash is not counted. We're just counting the winter squash here. These corn, the squash, and potatoes provide the starches, the calories, and the protein from the beans. Okay. This stuff you can store all year if it's taken care of. No refrigeration is required. Perfect prepper food, my friends. Perfect prepper food. Guys, so that's what you do. That's how you grow enough food on 1/10 of an acre to feed a family of 4. Of course, that's saying that, bugs don't get in it, the deer don't get in it, eat it up. So, you got to plan and practice gardening, guys, so you learn the techniques. Again, I got videos covering all that stuff. So, people, my friends, we got 42 million acres of lawns in the United States. 42 million acres of lawns. So when you go through the math, divide it by 10, no, multiply by 10 for 1/10 of an acre, and then multiply by 4 for feeding the 4 people, you could feed 1.68 billion people on America's lawns. I'm not counting the fields, just the lawns. They tell me that we have too many people. You got to be kidding me. We can support a lot of people just off these lawns, which are, as you can see, is mostly wasted space. Some people have ginormous lawns. They spend a lot of money keeping it manicured. Even where you got trees, there's still things you can grow, like lettuces, worms. Hey, it's a good place to put worm beds under trees in the shade, or mushrooms. You can grow mushrooms in logs. At least these guys are taking good use of the lawn by putting goats on it. You do need some protein. And guys, you don't want to have to go to the store. So worm castings are the best stuff you can put in your garden. And there you go. That's pure worm castings in a barrel. And worm castings have concentrated minerals such as nitrates, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus. All stuff that the plants and you need too. Worm castings are 100% organic fertilizer, actually all natural. They increase your plant's yield, protect plants from diseases, and help the soil retain its moisture. And there are some of the worms. That's from my place right there. And that's some of my worms. I'll hopefully be selling worms again in the near future at greengregs.com. That's worm tea in a jug on the hood of Betsy Blue. And here I'm brewing worm tea in a 58-gallon olive barrel, blowing air through it and giving syrup. The syrup, molasses, also increases the nutrients. And I actually use aquaponics water in mine to start it out. So that gives it double extra oomph. And guys, this is how you can actually grow your food in your home on 1/10 of an acre. This is my universal habitat concept. I've done several videos on this topic going in far more detail. So I won't go in that detail today. This is just an introduction to show you what's possible. You can grow on 1/10 of an acre. This whole house sits on 1/10 of an acre. If that looks expensive, let me tell you, these walls could be round earth. These walls could be sandbags. You could put tires and build tire walls. That takes a lot of labor though. So, but you want a thermal mass. I think that's a 2-foot thick wall. You want thermal mass to make this thing work efficiently. And some of it should be a little bit underground. The roof could be hoops. I mean, it could be, you can build a roof. I mean, in some places you wouldn't even want a roof. In the tropics, you'd want to put shade cloth up there probably. So yeah, it could be varied according to the climate and where you're at, but you can grow all year in this. In fact, being able to grow all year, this would produce a lot more, especially if you put some animals on and a layer underneath here or something, get your CO2 level up a little bit. So, and whole concept, this unlike the Dervaes family, which did not grow on the roof and grew everything in the backyard and had a garage and many other things taking up their lot. Their whole lot was a fifth of an acre, but they grew in the backyard on a tenth of an acre. This is a way to put it all right here on your house and in your house and have some nice living quarters back in here. So you see my universal habitat video. You could house everybody in the planet on an area the size of Texas and New Mexico, and they could produce just about all their food in it, or half of Alaska. So there you go. It can be a really beautiful concept, guys. I'll be doing some more work on this. I hope to build some of these in the not too distant future. That's one of my great goals in life, is to build one of these as a demo project. So y'all bear with me. We'll go through this adventure one day down the road, I hope. All right, my friends. Thank you for watching. And with that, I'm going to say it's the end. And Greg out.